When I was a girl, I had a fear of spiders.
Perhaps the most dangerous woman in the world, Widowmaker is a ruthless assassin, lacking any ounce of emotion or remorse for those unfortunate enough to find themselves within her sniper scope. Despite being a cold-hearted killer, her story is one of tragedy, sadness, and malice. This is Overwatch 2's deadliest assassin, Widowmaker. Amélie Lacroix grew up in France within her ancestral home of Chateau Guillard. The manor had fallen into disrepair over the years due to the family's power waning after the French Revolution. Amélie found escape in dance, as she didn't care for her family's traditions and aristocratic tendencies. She was known as a well-accomplished ballet dancer in Paris. Later on, she would meet and marry Gerard Lacroix, an agent of Overwatch who was spearheading operations against the terrorist organization Talon. She didn't think of her husband's career or how it would potentially affect her much, other than it making a good conversation at dinner parties. Unbeknownst to her, it actually placed a target on her head. After multiple failed attempts on Gerard's life, Talon would turn their attention to Amélie. She would be kidnapped in the dead of night. They would put her under immense neural reconditioning and mental strain, as Talon had a purpose for her. They needed to get at Gerard, so they decided to go through his wife. Gerard went through every possible resource Overwatch had at its disposal to try and retrieve his wife, and before long, they succeeded. She was physically and psychologically cleared, and all seemed to be well. She would kill Gerard in his sleep 2 weeks later. They had turned Amélie into a sleeper agent, and succeeded in their mission to kill Gerard. She would be hunted by police and Overwatch agents relentlessly. She was haunted by what she had done. But alongside that grief, that pain, came something that scared her even more. She felt alive after killing her husband. It had given her such a high that she returned to Talon, seeking to relive that feeling that excited but terrified her. Her training was complete once she returned, and she was trained in covert tactics, as well as being trained by the best in wielding a sniper rifle. With the assistance of Moira, her aim would drastically be improved due to Moira slowing her heart rate down tremendously, causing her skin to turn blue and cold, numbing her human emotion. It helped her deal with the pain of killing her husband, and only heightened the rush of securing a kill. Eventually, Amélie was dead. All that was left was Widowmaker. She would become Talon's most deadly assassin, and one of the most dangerous women to walk on the earth. During a mission led by Jack Morrison, in which a number of scientists were rescued from the grasp of Talon, Widowmaker was present and able to take out a number of Overwatch agents. This led to an ensuing sniper battle between herself and Anna Amari. While Anna was able to temporarily incapacitate Widowmaker, hitting her helmet exposing her face, Anna would hesitate to land the killing blow due to the shock of finding out Amélie Lacroix was alive. Up to this point, she was assumed to either be dead or still in the grasp of Talon. Little did they ever consider that Talon was using her as a weapon. This small moment of hesitation was all Widowmaker needed to compose herself and take a shot back, taking out Anna's eye. Moving on further down the line, Overwatch has fallen, and Talon is only gaining more power. She would take part in a mission to secure Dr. Sebring the Kuiper from a black site in New Mexico. Doomfist promised her a clear path to Sebring, but unfortunately Sombra and Reaper triggered the alarm, and she would go on to call them amateurs. The mission, however, was a success, with Widowmaker and her team slaughtering any resistance that came their way. Later on, Widowmaker would be dispatched on a mission to King's Row with one sole objective: to assassinate Tukata Mondata, the leader of the Shambali monks, as he was set to make a speech in the area. She would take some time to reflect upon herself and how as a young girl she had a fear of spiders. Now she became exactly like them. She positioned herself upside down on the side of a building, but unbeknownst to her, someone was onto her. Tracer was present at the speech and had listened into radio chatter of some Secret Service guards and found out where she was. Interrupting her just before she could get the shot off, the two would engage in a battle amongst the rooftops. Tracer warned Mondata's guard to get him out of the area as she pursued Widow. She would try her best to land a cheeky pulse bomb on the Talon assassin, but ultimately it backfired and blew the two off the roof of a nearby building. As the two were airborne, Widowmaker positioned herself perfectly to take out either of her now two targets. She aimed directly at Tracer's chronal accelerator and fired. This caused Tracer to recoil, but little did she know, directly behind her would be the head of Mondata.
Looks like the party is over.
As Tracer would chase her down and yell at her,
Why? Why would you do this?
she would only respond with a laugh and the phrase,
Adieu, chérie.
as a Talon aircraft arrived to pick her up. She'd flip over Tracer, knocking her into the side of a building, and leave. Mondata was dead, and Widowmaker had gotten away. She would reflect on this, stating that Mondata was one of her finest kills. Another mission she would take part in would be one to secure the Doomfist Gauntlet, in which her and Reaper would break into an Overwatch museum to retrieve it, but would ultimately be stopped by Tracer and Winston. Another would be to assassinate Katya Volskaya, but this mission would also fail due to Sombra acting of her own free will and sparing the life of Katya. Later on, she would attend a casino with Doomfist, but was interrupted by Talon agents loyal to Viali, a member of Talon's inner circle. Her, Sombra, and Reaper would dispatch the Talon agents loyal to Viali, while Doomfist would deal with Viali himself by throwing him off a bridge. Widowmaker would also visit her husband's grave over Christmas, leaving a rose atop it. She would also return to her ancestral home at some point. And that's all we got. Other than her pulling up on Zenyatta in Suravasa with Sombra, kinda not much there. Very similar to Sigma in that regard. An extremely interesting and potentially deep character that just has not been explored to their full potential. But without talking about how PvE failed and the story we were meant to get that never got finished, let's talk about the potential we could still get. With the Overwatch 2 spotlight, we got vast amounts of information and answers straight from the Overwatch 2 dev team themselves. One of the things mentioned was that Aaron Keller himself would love to see an Overwatch TV show, and I've been saying this for months at this stage, that this would be the best thing Overwatch could do. Now, is it likely to happen just because Aaron said he wants one? No, but hey, a man can dream. An Arcane style show for Overwatch would be fire, even if it was just to focus down to a small number of them, similar to the way Arcane did. Maybe focus on the current Overwatch team, maybe focus on members of Talon, or the old soldiers like Ana and Soldier. Something, anything would be great, as long as they remain true to themselves and got the actual cast to voice their characters. You wouldn't want to see something with Reinhardt if it wasn't voiced by Darren DePaul. I really don't feel like anyone could bring as much energy to the character like he does. Another thing they said was that they want to expand their ways of storytelling due to them realizing that they have been slacking on that lately. More short cinematics, more in-game events, more engaging comics. These are all great ways of exploring these characters and making people like Widowmaker more fleshed out and in-depth. There's a lot to play around when it comes to Widowmaker. Like, what about an internal struggle for power between the weapon that was created by Talon and the woman who she used to be? That sense of emotion slowly crawling its way back in. Amélie begging herself to stop the killing and not to be this tool Talon created for their own needs. That is why I personally like Widowmaker. She's this incredibly dangerous, cold-hearted killer who at one stage used to just be a famous ballet dancer in Paris. Her story is incredibly sad. A woman who just married the man she loved, not knowing how much danger it would put her in, taken from her home and broken mentally, turned into a living weapon to be used on her husband. I'd love to see more about what she was like before she became Widowmaker. All we get to see is this cold-hearted, emotionless assassin. I want to see how she'd act, how she'd feel on a daily basis. Doesn't even have to be anything big. A little snippet. Maybe her and Gerard at a dinner party. Maybe how she felt about dancing. Anything. I'd like to just see the potential depth of this character explored more. So I am holding out for a big expansion of the lore in the coming months. Not just for Widowmaker, but for the incredibly unique universe of Overwatch as a whole. But that's all we got for now. If you did enjoy this video, hit that subscribe button. It does mean a lot. And if you made it to this stage in the video, thank you so much. My passion and love for Overwatch has been revitalized ever since the spotlight, and it made me realize that I will always truly love this game and this universe. Let me know who you want to see next down below, whose story you want to hear next. If you want to support the channel, you can consider becoming a member, but also hitting the like button and the subscribe button is the best way to support us. Check out all my social media linked below, and all the other Overwatch and Elden Ring videos we have down there too. But yeah, this was Widowmaker.